This is Code Red.
Guys, you're listening to the Code Red podcast. I'm Shubh,
And this is Parthib.
and this is the Manchester United podcast where we review games, tactics, and player ratings. Throughout the series, we'll also be looking at any club updates such as transfer news, contract extensions, or any injuries to the squad. Today, we're looking at our predictions for the 2021 season.
So the Premier League is finally upon us. Tomorrow's the very first game. Obviously, United don't play till the 19th, but we got the special episode ready for you guys where we will be predicting our table. So we'll be seeing who we think is going to become champions, who's going to get Champions League, and who's going to get relegated at the end of the season. Spooky stuff. So if I just quickly share right here. So doing this in a tier list format. So I couldn't find anything online. That sucks for us. So what we have here is the champions. Who's going to get Champions League? So that's second through fourth place. Europa League, fifth place. Then the top 10. So everything from 6th to 10th. Then top 15, everything from 11th to 15th. Then escapes relegation, which is from 15th to 17, right?
Yeah, and then 18th.
And then relegation, which is 18th, 19th, and 20th place. So starting off, we're starting from the very top. Who do you think is going to be champions for this 2021 Premier League season?
Liverpool really put up a strong season. Almost Centurions just missed it by 1.99 points. But I'm actually going to go with Manchester City. I think, Manchester City, they had a better goal difference if you look at it. And I think, they were very injury struck. Obviously, Aguero was out for some time. De Bruyne was out. Laporte especially was out for a very long time. So they clearly had defensive issues. But with signings such as Nathan Ake, you have Ferran Torres in the middle, and then you also have Laporte back. I think it's going to be more clean, I guess, a better season. I think City can take over as the champions.
Damn, okay. I didn't see that one coming, honestly. So I'm going to stick with, as much as I hate to see it, Liverpool. I mean, they're just good everywhere. I think them and Bayern, if they were in a Champions League final, that would be probably the greatest Champions League final I've ever watched. The team, it's not just one player. Like in Barcelona, it's just Messi. It's a team. They have everything. They're consistently good in every position. On paper, it seems like their midfield is lacking, but those midfield always show up. We got Gini Wijnaldum, who might leave, unfortunately. But then we also have Jordan Henderson in the middle, Fabinho holding up the center defense. And then we got the forwards, who are insane. We got Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, and Roberto Firmino, who was misfiring back home at Anfield. But I still think they still have the best chance, not to mention how good their defense is and how offensive their defense is. And I still think that Alisson is the best keeper in the league, even though I did rate Ederson higher than him in the last couple of seasons. But I think Alisson is better than him. I think Liverpool are still going to clinch it this season.
Yeah, I think it's just that midfield that's kind of questionable at times. I think they are linked to Thiago. If they get Thiago, I think that they easily get champion.
Even Barcelona's linked with Thiago, so that could be, or maybe they get Wijnaldum and then Liverpool get Thiago, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it'll be very close. I don't think it'll be
it's not going to be
18-point gap like it was or whatever. Yeah.
So first up in the Champions League spot, who do you think takes second?
I think it's kind of easy, this one now.
Yeah.
For me, Liverpool. I think it's going to be a close race. I think teams have definitely stepped up this season, so I think Liverpool will just barely miss it by maybe 5-6 points to City.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the opposite of you, City, second place. I think it has to do mainly with, you were saying, they were inconsistent defense because they were obviously missing a lot of players. But Sergio Aguero is getting old. He can't really carry the team as much as he did. There's obviously quality players everywhere. But I think it really depends on if they can stay fit. And you did mention Nathan Ake, but I really don't rate Ake as a City class defender. If they really want a chance at the league, they're going to have to make sure Laporte plays week in and week out, and maybe even start Phil Foden. Phil Foden's been infamously not being able to start, and I think if he does start, they might have a chance. But I think if Pep still sticks to his ways of kind of not playing Foden, I think it might not pan out the way they wanted to see. So I think City's definitely going to get second at minimum.
Yeah, I think Nathan Ake is more of an insurance type player. I don't see him as a top 6 starting player. in terms of like, he does provide some quality, pace, strength. But I think Laporte and Fernandinho, I think they'll be the like center back duo for most of the season.
Yeah. Now, third place. This is where it gets tricky.
Um,
I'm. Oh,
Go
you go
ahead. Go
ahead.
ahead. You go.
Okay, I'm going for Chelsea, the Blues. I mean, they've built up a hell of a squad. Not to mention how good Lampard's been with them. They kind of rebuilt the squad. It was unfortunate what happened the FA Cup, but they have made some quality signings. We've got Kai Havertz from Bayern Leverkusen. He's pretty much confirmed at this point, right?
He's already in. He's already in.
Okay, yeah. So, oh yeah, it's the 11th. Yeah, yeah. And then obviously Timo Werner, like one of the best strikers in Europe and one of the best German strikers, I think. And they've been what's his name? Hakim
Hakim
Ziyech.
Ziyech.
And
Yeah.
then the only thing that's kind of lacking for them is their defense. It kind of exposed during the break, like seeing how much they conceded. The pairing of Rudiger and who's the other one?
Zuma.
Kurtzuma, yeah. So it's
Uh-huh.
Lampard's main uh, focus has to be put towards the goalkeepers and the defense because especially Kepa, he had pretty rough season as well last year. I think he was kind of overshadowed with De Gea. But if he does want a chance in getting the Champions League, they did get Champions League this year, right?
Yes, fourth.
Yeah, right, barely. If they want to get even higher and maybe even assert like themselves for a top place maybe by next season, I think they really have to focus on their defense and goalkeepers. But they've figured out the mid and forwards perfectly, I'd say.
Definitely. I think Chelsea has had an amazing transfer window. And I mean, I feel like they kind of did solve some of their defensive problems. I think, the signing of Ben Chilwell at left back really does provide. I'd say it's a small upgrade to Alonso. I don't think it's like going from, like Mason Mount to Kai Havertz. Like, I wouldn't say it's like a
Yeah.
massive, like, changing the first team, but I think he does provide some good offensive work. And Thiago Silva, he is quite old though, but I think in terms of Zuma Rudiger, that's not really a partnership I'd like to see. But I'm actually gonna go for Manchester United.
United, okay.
It's a bold statement, I know, but I think just I feel like the way United played, I mean, they had a rough start to the season, and then obviously Bruno came in and things got a lot better. But the thing is, the squad was so young. I mean, there was a lot of variables in that squad. I mean, Brandon Williams new, Mason Greenwood, Bruno Fernandes, Pogba playing in a deep role, and Rashford, Martial, Pogba, they were all out for at least 2 months individually. So I think, United have agreed personal terms with Jadon Sancho. So I think it is possible if they get Jadon Sancho, I see them getting third because, I mean, it's just so much pace and so many penalties.
There's more for Panenda to put away.
Yeah, but I think I feel like I feel confident about United going into the season. I think they have a good momentum. They kind of have I think they ended off last season in a good spot.
Yeah. And Ole was especially like wanting to get that Champions League spot, just kind of like spur them on and maybe kickstart something for them. But I think their main focus shouldn't be Champions League. I think it should be the league. And it's more like just getting these youngsters to even get more like competent with the Premier League style of play. Because this isn't the U18 squad now. It's just more like phasing them in and comforting them in. Because Brandon Williams, we saw he was kind of iffy now and then. He did get injured. He's a pretty frail guy. And Luke Shaw is also quite injury prone. Not to mention the defensive pairing isn't the gold quality in United of Premier League defensive measures. So I think it's going to be really more about chasing after the league. And that's why I think they're going to be fourth this season. It is kind of, I was not sure between Arsenal or United or is fourth because Arsenal have been doing well under Mikel Arteta. He's brought the squad back up. It's kind of a recurring thing that we see old players coming in to get to their new team, kind of revamping the squad, like Chelsea, Lampard, then Koeman with Barca, Ole with United, and now Mikel Arteta with Arsenal. But I think they're still lacking a lot. Just in general, Arsenal, they're just depending on Aubameyang the whole time. But United kind of have that balance only within their forwards and midfielders. And I think now it's going to be kind of a do or die for David De Gea, especially because we obviously had Dean Henderson back, and he's about 29, De Gea. So I think this might be his last season. So I think he wants to end off on a high note. But I think United are going to clinch fourth. still get a Champions League spot for next season.
Yeah, I think. I think like last season, I think that like fighting for that Champions League spot, I think it'll come down to game week 38. I mean,
Oh yeah,
all of these teams have upgraded in like some form or another. And don't forget the transfer window is still open until October the 5th, so
there's
that's
still
3 more
time.
weeks. Yeah, so you never know. There's some maybe random signings or like some really star signings like Koulibaly to City or something like that. But I think Chelsea will get fourth. I think they've revamped like every part of their squad. So I think Chelsea is just overall very strong, and I think they just barely lose to United once again. I think maybe they have a kind of a slow start to the season because obviously new players, new faces. There's going to be some kind of rust in terms of the chemistry and the way they play together. But I think United is more of a united team
Yeah,
because they know each
haha.
other. Haha, yeah. So yeah, I think Chelsea clinches that last Champions League spot.
All right. So that's a lot. Yeah, fourth position. Now Europa. So this is a kind of, for me, I was really conflicted. For me, I was feeling either Arsenal, Leicester, and even Spurs. I think Spurs they had a rough start, especially like getting 14th place. Or Spurs. No, I think Mourinho's kind of dragging them through the dirt. Spurs. I don't think they're gonna get Europa. I think if anything, it's gonna be Arsenal clinching the Europa spot.
Yeah,
Leicester
okay, sorry.
Leicester are a good team, but they just don't have the sort of money as a big club like Arsenal does. Not saying they aren't big. They are the Premier League. They are my favorite team in the Premier League. I don't support them, but I really like them. Just because like their whole mentality, like it's just like a team effort. It's not just one player. Like especially in the season where they won, Jamie Vardy, Riyad Mahrez, N'Golo Kante. Even their defenders were playing well. Like what was their captain? Wes Morgan was a rock. Kasper Schmeichel was so good, and even random nobodies like Danny Simpson had a Champions League medal. It's kind of crazy, but I think Arsenal are going to win out just because money. That's how all it boils down to. Whoever has more money has a better chance. I think Arsenal are going to get clinched that Europa spot.
Yeah, I think also like losing Ben Chilwell. I mean, he was quite he was quite important to that squad, and also Ricardo Pereira tore his ACL, I believe, in February or March.
Yeah,
I can't recall when, but that type of injury doesn't really. It's not easy to recover, and so
it's not
his
at
season
all.
could go out the window. So maybe I feel like they might have some defensive issues. Um, so I think I agree with you. I think Arsenal will get fifth because they've been kind of hot form. They're playing better, and we also kind of saw how Arsenal were kind of had defensive issues. I think the signing of Gabriel from Lille, I think it's a good signing for Arsenal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think Arteta's kind of switching more to a three at the back rather than four at the back. I think Willian will still help, that kind of offense, put pressure on Pepe to kind of perform. Um, so I think this Arsenal squad can get fifth.
There's one little thing that we kind of forgot to mention. They might be losing out Hector Bellerin, who's always been like a threat coming down the wing to Barcelona. He might be coming to Barcelona. He's a La Masia graduate. He might come back to Spain. And it seems like Barca are pretty much going to sign him up. So they might lose something there. I think that's smart for Arteta dropping down to three instead of having the two fullbacks on the side, just committing to defense more than having offensive defenders. So I think that's what Arteta's kind of compensating for when you mentioned that they're going three at the back. So yeah.
Yeah. Also, Kieran Tierney. He's kind of he had a couple like assists later on in the restart. So I think he's kind of maybe taking Bellerin's role. But yeah, I think Arsenal can maybe get better. And they are linked to Aouar and Thomas Partey. I don't know if they'll get either one. But yeah, I think Arsenal can improve from, I believe they got 8th last season.
Yeah. So now we're coming down to the top 10. So 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th position. So I think I'm just going to put everything down all at once because we're knocking out the big ones. So I think 6th position is going to be Leicester. 7th is going to be not Spurs. 7th is going to be Spurs. Yeah, I think Spurs still have a shot. Then 8th, Wolves. 9th, Sheffield. And 10th, I'm kind of taking a gamble. I think Leeds are actually going to have a good shot. They played damn well last season. So Leicester, my thinking behind that, great squad, all around great squad. But I just think the money, their defensive, it's going to hurt them in the long run. I think they're not going to be able to get that Europa or even Champions League spot. They've been consistently good these past 4 or 5 years, but it's all coming to a head. Jamie Vardy's getting old. He's still scoring, and like Chat should get banged, honestly, but it's going to decline. It's going to drop out. And I think for Spurs, Mourinho hasn't really, who has he signed?
Matt Doherty from Wolves, and I think
Yeah,
Pierre-Emile Hjulberg, I think, a
Højbjerg,
defender.
yeah. They were struggling so much, and I don't think Mourinho really helped. Like they should have stayed with Pochettino. Pochettino really figured out what he had to do at Spurs, and just dropping Pochettino was probably the worst mistake Spurs made this entire season. So I think it's still going to hurt them throughout. Wolves, I rate them. They're a great team all around, an all-around team. But I don't. It's just going to be the same thing. They're just losing out to money, and same thing with Sheffield and Leeds. Leeds, I'm kind of taking a gamble on this because they did play well in the second division, and they did make it up finally. And I'm using the shitty Leeds logo. What the hell is this, honestly? But I think Sheffield still has a chance. They had the best one of the best defensive records, but they also lost Dean Henderson to United, so I think that's really going to hurt them. And Leeds 10th position because I think they're a good team, but they're not good enough to break out of the double digits.
Yeah, I think this is probably the hardest here because they are so compact and they are so many good teams that barely miss out on that Europa League. But I believe 6th place does guarantee a Europa League qualifier spot.
Yeah, it's like a wild card match.
Yeah, so they could be still competing, but that depends on their fixture and how well if they win or lose in the knockout matches. And so for my 6th team, I'm actually going to go with Everton.
Everton.
Yeah, I think Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin have been great. I think James Rodriguez-Allen from Napoli. I think Carlo Ancelotti has played with James Rodriguez so many times.
Madrid,
yeah, Bayern, Real. Now it's at Everton, and I think they can do better. I think they have a good strong defense to lean back on. So I think Everton gets 6th. It is quite of a gamble, but yeah, I think Everton can maybe this is their year. I think Leicester get 7th. I mean, obviously, as you said, I think they'll regress a bit with kind of like losing Chilwell, and then also Jamie Vardy's getting old. I think Madison he still has that kind of like injury lingering onto him, Ricardo Pereira. So I think we're going to see a different Leicester than I guess the one we kind of saw last year, which was at one point the only savior to stop Liverpool from winning.
Yeah. Well, that didn't pan out as well as we thought.
Yeah. 8th, I'm gonna go Wolves. I think Nuno has done a great job with this team. They were really clinical. I think they just missed out at times, like the easy goals, the easy games. I think they do better. But yeah, I have Wolves going there, and then I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Sheffield United next. I think they've done a great job defensively, and they got Aaron Ramsdale, the ex-Bournemouth keeper, to replace Dean Henderson. Ramsdale is not as good, but still, I think with some more experience in the Premier League, I think they'll do even better. So yeah, I think Sheffield will get there, and then I think Southampton. I think Southampton is, they're like kind of like a underrated team. I mean, they kind of just go under the radar, I feel like, and then just snatch points away from top teams.
2015, they had a hell of a league season. I think they came like 6th, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean,
after that, they just kind of fell off.
Well, I mean, most of their star players were getting taken by Liverpool. But yeah, I was kind of debating between Spurs and Southampton. But I think, Mourinho's defensive system, it doesn't really complement Harry Kane, who I'd say is kind of like the lone star player in that squad.
Yeah.
And that too, Kane has been he's had so many injuries as of late. I mean, he missed almost all of the second half of the season, only returning during the restart because of his surgery. But yeah, I think Spurs miss out. I think and Dombele, he's
He
still
hasn't made
like
much of an impact.
questionable. Yeah, I think I don't really see where this Spurs team is heading. So yeah, I don't think they make the top 10.
Damn. Okay. So for number 11 for me, I had Everton. I mean, James is such a. I think it's gonna be James that might be kind of like the Bruno Fernandes of Everton. Like he's had so much experience, obviously, like Golden Boot in 2014 World Cup, and then he had a hand before Zidane's Real Madrid came in. He was insane for Madrid. It's just that it's a shame that Zidane did what he did. He didn't like him, but James just brings that world class quality that Everton haven't had in a long time, and not to mention Richarlison is also a flourishing striker. And I think he's really coming into his own these last couple of seasons. I remember watching the first time against Liverpool, and he was like, "Damn, he's a good player." So, and not to mention Allen coming in, and I think they might have. I don't think they're going to break top 10, but I think this might be the season where they kind of like rebuild. And next season is where they maybe finally break the top 10. Then after that, I've got this was kind of a tough one. It's now getting like down to the wire, but I was honestly thinking Southampton. So as you said, they do snatch up and they are kind of a low key team when it comes up, but I still don't think they have just the quality just to break out of the like the bottom 15, and it's just gonna stay kind of like that. I really don't see them moving past that. I kind of want to see what you say because I'm kind of stuck. I'm still thinking about this. Like, what do you think for like 12 and 13, 11 and 12?
So I went Spurs. I think I don't think the drop off's that far. But I think they'll lose a couple, and then I have. I think I'm gonna go Newcastle. I think
Newcastle.
Newcastle. Towards the end, they were really kind of exciting, and I mean, they got Callum Wilson from Bournemouth. I mean, yeah, he's not clinical Harry Kane or Anthony Martial, but 2 seasons ago, he had like 14 goals, 10
He
assists,
had
or
some
something for
crazy
Bournemouth.
numbers.
Yeah, he was putting up mad numbers, and I think Alan Saint Maximin, um, who's been like kind of like really showing flashes towards the end of that restart. I think if they can continue that, I think Newcastle can, once again start to put their name higher in the table. And then I went for Leeds. I think Marcelo Bielsa, he's just so fun to watch. I mean, they're like a high press attacking team, but I think with the Premier League, it's more physical, it's
Yeah.
more fast paced. I think his team will get caught out at times. So, as much as I love that team, watch them play, I think they'll still lag a bit behind. Um, and then I put Burnley. I think their defense there is great. Nick Pope almost won the Golden Boot. Tarkowski is kind of leading that defense. Or sorry, mm, actually no. Didn't Burnley lose a lot of players though in free agency? I think.
I'm not too sure. I
I
remember
think
thinking
they
about
might have. I think I'll go West Ham instead of Burnley.
West Ham. Okay.
Yeah, I mean West Ham were also pretty good in the restart. Michael Antonio like on
Oh, then
fire.
destroying Chelsea.
Yeah, 3-2. Yarmolenko.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I
The
have one
last
more to go?
11, 12, 13. Yeah, you have one more.
Oh, okay. I think I'll go ask. This is hard. I think I'll go Villa.
Villa.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Jack Grealish leads the club, and I think they have something to build upon from last season. But yeah, this one is kind of hard, I guess. What are your
Yeah.
takes?
So I still think Burnley. I have it. Sean Dyche is still around there with Burnley, right?
Yeah.
He's a quality manager. He's like especially 2017-18 season, he really built up the squad. But I think it's just not going to be the same. James Tarkowski wasn't the same as he was back in 2017. They lost Matt Doherty, right? Oh wait, did Doherty?
No,
Doherty plays
Doherty
for
will play
Wolves.
for
My bad. My
Wolves.
bad. My
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that they just don't have the same attacking presence as like some of these other squads do, and it's also just money. They haven't been able to invest as much. And then next up, I see Brighton. Brighton are a quality team, like especially in their first season back. I mean, not their first season back. The first season where they came back up to the league after a while. They had some good players, Pascal Gross, then the Australian guy. I don't remember his name, but they were
Proper.
playing. No, he was a winger. I know, sorry,
Musette?
center mid.
I don't know. I mean,
he
there's
was
like, I mean, they've Lewis
Moy,
Dunk
Aaron Moy,
also.
Aaron Moy, Aaron
Oh,
Moy.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was a good player, but it's just kind of falling apart. I don't see them going too far. The last one I say West Ham. I mean, they did have a fiery end to the season, but I think they're just going to sputter out after that. Don't really see them going too far after their the climax of their last seasons. That's my picks. Now, escape relegation. This is going to be tough. I'm going to just go. I'm going to start with relegation. Actually, I think Aston Villa are going down, Fulham are going down, and Bromwich Albion are going down, and then 16th Newcastle, 17th Crystal Palace. So Newcastle, as you were saying, they almost had that takeover by the
Yeah,
Aaron
yeah.
Daddies, but it didn't really come actually happen. But they still, as you're saying, they have quality, and it's just going to be a tough year for them. I really don't see them coming out of 15th place. Like, they are a good team. They do well in like the second league, but as you're saying, Premier League is a completely different monster, and they've been in the league for a while, and it's been hard for them, but I really don't see them going that far. And same with Crystal Palace. I mean, they've just been mediocre year in, year out. I don't really see them going too far. And Aston Villa, I think Jack Grealish is so overrated. He's not as good as people kind of. I think he's not as good as people kind of play him out to be. And like, yes, he is a quality player. I think Aston Villa isn't the club for him. I think he really needs to move out of Aston Villa if he really wants to further his career. And Aston Villa just aren't good. I mean, they
Mhm.
aren't the best team. They always go down. Like, this is the one season that actually stayed up after
Yeah.
coming up. And then Fulham, I mean, the boy Clint Dempsey played the original Super Captain America, but Fulham, like, they came up pretty well, but not as like fiery and rampant as they would usually. Like, it like rock the second division, and same with West Brom. They just don't have quality where they need it. It's kind of funny. I think Serge Gnabry used to play for West Brom, was kind of
He
labeled
wasn't
that.
good. He was considered not good enough for West Brom.
Yeah, not good enough for West Brom. They'd be kicking themselves now. So yeah, I think that's that. So escape relegations: Newcastle's, Crystal Palace, then relegation: Aston Villa, Fulham, and West Brom. What about you?
I'm gonna say Burnley and then Brighton get to stay. I think Burnley still have a somewhat good defensive record, and I don't see them kind of in the same boat as the other teams. I'm gonna say Palace and then Fulham and then West Brom. I think Fulham, they go down year after year. They weren't that great in like the kind of road to, I guess, the Premier
Yeah.
League. Same with West Brom, so I think they'll just go back down. Crystal Palace, I think, I just don't see. And I think, Gary Cahill, he's also kind of gotten kind of injury struck recently.
Yeah, I think at this point it's time for Cahill to retire.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, unfortunately, no more drafting Zaha in fantasy leagues.
Yeah, shut up, shut up. All right, so from my side of the table, I'm on the left. We got Liverpool winning the entire thing as 2021 champions, City clinching second, then Chelsea United third and fourth. Europa League, the guaranteed spot is Arsenal. Then the wild card spot might be available for Leicester. Then we got Spurs, Wolves, Sheffield, and Leeds. Then the top 15 from the 14th down to the 14th. Oh, my bad. The 11th down to the 15th. We got Everton, Southampton, Burnley, Brighton, West Ham. Then the escape relegation teams, we got 16th and 17th position with Newcastle and Crystal Palace, respectively. And going down the league down to the second tier is Aston Villa, Fulham, West Brom. On Shub's side, we have City winning the entire thing, Liverpool coming in with a close second. Like, we both know it's going to be a close tie between the 1 and 2. Then United in third, which is kind of optimistic, but I do see it happening. Chelsea
Very
fourth.
optimistic.
Arsenal with the guaranteed Europa spot. Everton with the wildcard spot, maybe breaking top 10. Leicester City in seventh. Wolves in eighth. Sheffield in ninth. And Southampton 10th. Spurs dropping down even lower, down to the 11th. Then we have Newcastle, Leeds, West Ham, Aston Villa, and escaping relegation. We have Burnley and Brighton. Going down to the second tier of division is Crystal Palace, Fulham, and West Brom. So that brings an end to our predictions of the 2021 Premier League table. And we still have to predict who we think top scorer, golden, to most clean sheets, PFA Young Player of the Year, and PFA Player of the Year. Was there one more?
Best defensive record, most scored goals, Golden Boot, playmaker,
Right. Yeah.
and then the PFA ones.
So for my, I think top scorer, it's gonna be tough. I think it's I'm not. I don't think any of the Chelsea guys are gonna get it. I think it's gonna be Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, especially with the kind of support that Arteta's trying to bring in for him because he has been kind of a one-man army, and he has scored a lot of goals as one-man army. I think he's gonna even score even more now with this new Arsenal squad. So I think Aubameyang gets number one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Anthony Martial.
Come on, man. You gotta be serious. Like I have been kind of turning, but you can't be serious, man.
Hey, he's been in very hot form. Okay.
Come on.
And then even in UEFA Nations League, he got a goal and assist and another penalty one in the
Which our dear
2 games.
Antoine missed.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, the new number 7.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I think. I mean, I feel somewhat confident of Jadon Sancho coming into that squad. And with Martial as the lone striker, I think he'll just get in those easy tap-ins. Although Bruno might outscore him with those penalties. But I think it's a hot take. It's a very bold take. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Anthony Martial.
Number one assister, I'm going for old KDB. He's still got in the bag, man. And I think now with Aguero coming out of injury and Jesus even filling in for Aguero's boots pretty well, I think it's just going to give him more opportunities to score. I think Pep really should play Aguero and Jesus together more for my fantasy team, but it'll help. it'll help them out in the long run. Like just imagine the firing prowess between those two. But yeah, I think top assister KDB.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I mean, he's just so good. That vision that he has. I mean, it's irreplaceable.
Unparalleled.
Yeah, I think
I'd say it's better than Prime Ozil.
Yeah. I'd say that. Yeah, Prime Ozil didn't last as long as I feel Kevin De Bruyne's.
Will spurred out. I think especially with the move to Madrid, it just didn't help him.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, I mean, Aguero has that one instant in the season where he just gets injured for some time, and then Jesus has to fill in. So I think that could be a really good idea. And I think with more defensive stability, I think they'll be able to push further, not have to rely on Ederson pushing forward. But I think Kevin De Bruyne wins it.
Yeah, and then PFA Player of the Year.
That's the problem with this one is it's so rigged. I mean,
that is fair.
Didn't they give it to Jordan Henderson this year?
Yeah.
Who did what? I mean, captained Liverpool.
The thing is, he wasn't even okay, he was important, but come on, the main players there were not Sancho, Mane and Salah. Yeah, I don't really think yet. But if we're gonna be realistic with ourselves, I mean, if we were trying to be smart, I'd say it'd be KDB. But if we're being realistic, I think it might go to Aubameyang or Salah, either one of those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is hard. My mind wants to say Bruno so bad.
That's a good shout, though.
Because I feel
I'm changing mine. Aubameyang or Bruno? No. Okay, I'm just gonna put 3 out there: KDB, Aubameyang, Bruno. Those 3. I can't pick one.
Because I feel okay, so for me, I have I have Bruno, KDB, and if I had to go for a third, I'm just gonna go with Bruno and KDB. I think, right. And I'm gonna kind of lean towards Bruno because I think, because I guess if we're talking about the impact on the squad that Jordan Henderson had, I think Bruno has the better mentality aspect, the leadership aspect than what's his name? Than Kevin De Bruyne does. Oh, so I think that might give him the edge. But we'll see. Yeah.
PFA Young. I'm gonna have to say Mason Greenwood. I
really?
like Pulisic more, but he's just so injury prone. But Greenwood getting limited minutes and still is putting away 10 goals in the league.
Yeah.
I think he can capitalize more on that. I think the only one who might be probably might be in the way of him is maybe Timo Werner. Could he count?
Yeah, I think Timo Werner's like 21,
Timo
22
Werner
maybe.
or Kai Havertz or Pulisic. And I think Pulisic is too injury prone. I think Mason has the best shot at it this year.
Yeah.
You're gonna go from 2, right?
No. Oh, Timo Werner's 24. No, I'm gonna go with Jesse Lingard.
Obviously.
No.
Youth prospect for the future.
Yeah, higher rated than Bale.
They
80
Bale's
rated.
so dirty. I mean, Bale doesn't care. Wales golf.
Yeah, 95 PGA Tour. No, PFA is going to be hard. I feel like, because I feel like Trent might win it again because he's a really good shout.
He sounds so sad.
Because I want to say Sancho because he's 20 years old.
But there's no telling if he's even going to come.
Yeah, that's the problem. So if I had to go with a right now pick, this is very hard. I think I'm gonna go Trent again. If it's like a right now pick.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like, if I could pick any player, I'd say I'm gonna go with Sancho. This could go totally wrong if Sancho doesn't come. But yeah.
All right. So next up we got clean sheets, right? Most clean sheet keeper.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. Allison. It's just an easy one, and De Gea is obviously misfiring, and then Dean Henderson might come in and steal a few clean sheets. And obviously we had City's defensive woes. I don't think it might get better, but there's no telling. And Ederson's not as class of a keeper as I'd say Allison is. I think Allison, at the moment, maybe behind Neuer, is the best keeper in the world. So I think Allison's gonna get the most clean sheets.
Yeah, I think Allison's a top player. Ederson won it last year, but we have to remember that Allison was out for like a month or two when Adrian came in, so that kind of took away some of his clean sheets. But I think City's defensive kind of stability will improve. I mean, Laporte was out, so they had no one to rely on. They had to rely on Otamendi and like Angelino, who now plays for RB Leipzig. But yeah, I think they can get Fernandinho, Laporte. I think it'll be more stable. So I have Ederson winning the Golden Glove.
Anything else we had that we?
I think which team will score the most goals?
Oh, score more goals. City. I think City's still gonna score the most goals. They'd scored like 109 or something.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's some crazy number. Just their defensive record that killed them. But yeah, City's just gonna take it.
Yeah, I think it's City too. I mean, I feel like due to their squad rotation, that's why none of them will win the Golden Boot. Because like 1 week Sterling scores a hat trick, the next he's on the bench, and comes on in like 89th minute.
And the next these guys went over.
Yeah. But yeah, I think City. I mean, their attacking prowess. Oh my.
Oh, it's scary. It's
It's
an army.
Yeah. I think that. Best defensive record. Right. Who do you have?
That's a hard one. I'm gonna go with Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah. If I have Ederson winning clean sheets, I think Liverpool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, then I'll go City, I guess.
Yeah.
I think City only conceded like 2 or 3 more goals.
No, I thought they conceded a lot more than. Let me take a look at the table. Premier League.
Or no, maybe they. I think they scored like more like.
Okay, so City
15.
scored 102. Liverpool scored 85. City conceded 35. Liverpool conceded 33.
Yeah, then United was like 36 or 38 or something.
36.
36. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sheffield was 39.
Yeah. Sheffield kind of dropped off at the end.
Yeah.
But they did win 3-0 over Chelsea. Insert that.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'd know.
Yeah, I think so. I think those are our predictions.
So that's the shortest episode yet, 40 minutes just about. So we'll be bringing you the pictures of our table prediction on our Instagram, where you can check that out. Follow us there. Follow us on our own private Instagrams that are there. And we're excited for the 19th when United finally play against, who is it?
Crystal Palace.
Ooh, we got to make predictions. Who do you think's going to – what's your
Right.
prediction?
United actually have the best like opening day record.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So we have to go big. You're gonna probably clown me for this. You know what I'm
I know what you're gonna say. I already know what you're gonna say.
I'm gonna go 5-0.
I called it. I knew you were gonna say 5. I freaking called it. I'm going 3-1. 3-1. That's
Probably more reasonable one, but yeah. I mean, they did beat Chelsea 4-0 last year.
Yeah, but like, come on, it's not what happened.
Hey, what if Sancho comes? What if Sancho comes? And Martial's on fire. You can't.
It's in the next 8 days. There's no telling if Sancho's gonna come in the next 8 days and be.
Yeah,
He
you're
might be
right.
match fit, but yeah, I'm saying 3-1. You're saying 5-0. The biggest prediction we've had yet. So yeah,
I think Martial's gonna get a hat trick.
we'll see, buddy. Don't
Yeah.
get yourself.
Okay.
All right, thanks for sticking around. I'll see you around next time.